Hey everyone, I hope you're well. Today we're going to have a look at how to play the classic Gary Moore instrumental, The Loner. Recently discovered that there isn't a walkthrough tutorial available for this one on YouTube, thanks to one of my subscribers. So I figured that I must get on that and get one out there for you Gary Moore fans, and as well as for anyone who enjoys some damn fine guitar playing. The Loner was actually a cover by Gary Moore, if you didn't know that, not his original composition. It was originally written by a fella named Max Middleton, keyboardist for Jeff Beck and Cozy Powell in the early 70s. However, Gary Moore's version is these days the quintessential version of the piece, and Gary changed it so much from the original that he was given a writing credit on the track alongside Max Middleton. This one is all about feel. It's all bends and vibrato, half step bends, full step bends, step and a half bends, finger vibrato, whammy bar vibrato. It has it all as far as feel and expression goes. At a few key points, he flies pretty quickly through a couple of pentatonic runs, but for the most part, it's played at a pretty relaxed pace. A really good test for the intermediate soloist to work on feel, phrasing, bends, and vibrato in their playing. Also, a really good test for the experienced soloist to try and nail and play well. First up, a quick word about the tone. Now, there is no way to match that absolutely magical tone that Gary Moore achieved on this track, but if you want to get close, here's a primer. Lots of gain, for starters. Gary Moore was very much a high-gain guitarist. Bridge humbucker into a big Marshall British-type tube amp will do the trick, with, like I said, lots of gain dialed in. Delay set at about 400 milliseconds with about 4 repeats, a fair bit of plate reverb, and a touch of chorus, but not so much that you start getting a lot of chorusy warble modulation. That should get you close, but like I said, there's simply no matching this tone. It's simply one of the greatest guitar tones ever recorded, in my opinion. So let's get at this. My performance is linked down below in the description box if you'd like to check it out and or use it for reference as you go along. But for now, let's close in here, have a closer look and a walkthrough of this classic guitar track. But again, before we do, we are in standard tuning with this one, and aside from one chromatic lick and one outside the box note, this piece is entirely played in the key of G, using the G natural minor scale. But with that said, it doesn't sit for very long in any of the G minor boxes. It is all over the fretboard. It's a piece that's very much played laterally within the G minor scale, rather than vertically up and down in the boxes, which in and of itself is a very good way to learn the minor scale all over the neck by getting one out of the more traditional minor box patterns. But know that nearly every single note touched upon in this instrumental is from the G minor scale. So without further ado, let's do this. Alright, so before we dig into the main body of the instrumental, there is the little prelude to deal with, and I didn't include it in my cover, which you'll find down below, and a lot of covers that you see of this one, guitarists tend to leave it off, and for good reason. The timing, it's really messed up timing-wise, and if you try to play along with it with any of the numerous backing tracks you find out there, you're going to have a hard time, because I think Gary was kind of just freestyling this little prelude, and then they built the music behind him and behind his playing, the strings and the synths and whatnot that accompany it, because trying to play along with the backing track to this is almost impossible, the timing. But I'm going to show you guys how to play it. We're up on the neck pickup here for this opening bit. And know that there's a lot of bar vibrato going on here. And I'm going to play through it once. And I'm going to use the bar. But after I play through it once, I'm just going to start demonstrating using finger vibrato. Because I don't want to be using the bar way too much throughout this whole tutorial. But this whole piece is just loaded with bar vibrato. And but it can be played perfectly adequately with using nothing but finger vibrato. I've seen covers, brilliant covers of this instrumental on PRSs and Les Pauls and whatnot without a whammy bar, and strictly using finger vibrato, and it sounds fantastic. The only thing is it's going to have a slight difference in tone because because whammy bar vibrato is dropping the pitch ever so slightly, where finger vibrato is raising the pitch ever so slightly, but it's negligible. But there are key moments in the instrumental where you can really hear that it's bar and not finger, and I'll point those out when we get to them. But this opening little bit here, now we're going to continue on not using the bar, but know that there's a lot of bar going, and it's ever so slight, you know, very little tiny little dips. And we're working, starting it off right down the G minor chord, right there at the 17th fret position. 17, 15, 15, little half step bend at 17 of the G, and then grab 17 of the high E. Just want to back up a little bit. Remember in the beginning I said that this entire thing, except for a few outside notes here and there, this entire instrumental is in the G natural minor scale? Not this opening. This opening is just full of outside the box notes. But the main body of the instrumental is all G minor. But this here is in G minor, but he's grabbing a lot of outside the box notes. So 17, 15, 15, 17 of the G for a half step bend up to that note, which is not in the G natural minor. It's the kind of the blue note, I guess. Half step, grab 17 of the high E, and then grab 17 of the G again. Another little half step bend, release, and then grab 17 again. And then back it up to 15. And then give that, I think that's a full step. Release. And then grab 15 of the high E. And now these next two notes, three notes, he gets really aggressive. He's going 14, 15, another little half step bend at 15, and then grabbing 15 of the high E, and then he's backing it up to 14, half step bend, release, and then back up another half step. And then grabbing 13 of the high E. And then another half step bend, release at 14, and then grabbing the 12 of the high E, if you're following along. Finishes up on 12 there of the high E. And then he's going to jump back here to 9, hit it 3 times, step and a half bend, release, and then back onto the 12 of the high E. And then we're going to go 11, 12, and then 11, 12 of the G, and then a half step bend. And then grab 10 of the high E. And then we're going to go down to 10 of the B, step and a half bend, release it, back to 6 for a full step bend, with vibrato, slide into 7 of the G with loads of vibrato. Just waggle the crap out of that note. And that leads us into the main body of the instrumental. I'm going to play through, we're going to jump down to our bridge pickup here, going to play through the first opening phrase of it, and then we'll dig into how to play it. And so it's three patterns basically, and then we move it down 2 frets each time, and it's all within the G natural minor scale. So we're starting on the 5s with our index, 5 of the A down to 5 of the D, up to 7 of the D for a half step bend. Back up to 5 of the A, slide it into 6, and then grab 8 of the D. Now move the whole thing down to the 3s. And then you're going to go 3, 3, 5, 7. Slide. And then 3 to 5 of the A. And then move the whole thing down to the 1s. Play almost the exact same thing we did on the 3s. Now we move it down to the 1s. And then back to the 1 of the A. Little whammy bar dip right there to the open A. Kind of like that. If you don't have a whammy bar, slide into the 5 of the low E. Kind of like that. And then back to the 5 of the D to finish up that little phrase. And then we're going to go 5, 7, half step bend, off to the 5, back onto the 7 of the D string. And that's pretty much the whole opening phrase. And then we're into this. So it's a full step bend at 5 on the G. Release it off to 3. Grab 5 of the D, slide it into 7. And then you're going to go 5, 3 of the D. Another whammy bar dip to the open D. Or you could slide into 5 of the A. And then back onto the 5 of the D. And then we're going to jump back to that 5 of the G again for another full step bend. Same thing. And then he really rakes this 5, 3, 5 on the D. Stop. And that leads into the second part 2 of what's going to be part 2 of our tutorial here. So let's run through this opening bit one more time, and then we'll dig into part 2. And also know that, you know, there's not a whole lot of bar. There's a couple of little whammy bar dips going on there. But if you're on any note for any length of time whatsoever, give it a waggle and keep it even, you know. Don't have reckless kind of, you know, just shaking that note. You want nice, you know, nice even vibrato. But any note there that he's on for any longer than a quarter of a second, he's giving it some vibrato. So now we're into part two. It goes something like this. Almost the exact same thing as the first part, except it's played an octave higher with some different inflection and some different note choices and whatnot. But and that is what we're going to call part two. So it starts on the 7 of the G, and then we're going to go 8, 10 for a half step bend of the B. And then back up to 7 for a little whammy bar dip, hammer on to 8. It's more of a slide, it's not a hammer on. Kind of like that. Or if you don't have a bar, just slide in. And then grab 11 of the B, back it up 2 places, up to the 5. And then you're going to go 5, 6, 8 for a full step bend of the B. Back to the 5 of the G for a full step bend. And then release it off to 3. And then you're going to go 4, 6 for a full step bend. Back to 3, slide into 7 of the D. And then grab 8 of the B. And then we're going to go 8, 10, half step, off to the 8, back onto the 10, adding vibrato the whole time. And now we're going to kind of repeat the whole thing with a little different inflection here and there on a few of the notes. The first 3 notes there, very staccato this time. 8, 10, 11. So we're not bending the 10 this time, we're hopping right onto the 11 in a staccato fashion. And then we're jumping very quickly back down here to the 5th fret of the G. And then sliding back into 10 of the B. Back into our second position here at the 5. And then we're going to go 5, 6, 8 of the B, full step bend. And then very quickly down to the 3 of the G for a bend, full step bend release. And then this, we're going to pull off 5 to 3, off to 2, back onto 3. And then we're going to go 4, 6, full step bend. 3, slide back into 7 of the D, back onto 8 of the B, and then we're going to go the 8/10s again. This time we're going to bend, half step, off to the 8, and then we're going to jump up here to the 13 for a full step bend of the B. And then we're in kind of the next little section of part 2. Going to play through up to that point. And now we're into this. So that's a bend at 13. So you're going to release that bend at 13, off to 11, off to 10 of the B. 8/6. Into this G minor box here, 5th fret, pull off the 3, grab the 5 of the D. Give it a few little whammy bar dips. I just want to stop right here and just mention that when it comes to the whammy bar dips in this, a lot of them are in groups of 5. And so when he's playing this, it's a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See what I mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of those whammy bar vibratos were in groups of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See what I mean? And it keeps your vibrato even and steady. So we're back into this. Play that again. And then you're going to go 8 off to 6, back onto 8 very aggressively. Or actually a hammer on the last one. It's kind of raking. And that is going to be the end of part 2. And so I'm going to play through that one final time, and then we'll move on to part 3. Forgot that little part there. The second time you play this little phrase, you need those 3 notes to start it again. 12, 11, 13. 12 of the G, 11, 13 of the B. And then it stops again. So this is going to be part 3. This is very whammy bar intensive as far as vibrato goes. So we're going to call that part 3. So we're here in this position, but again, like I said, it's all laterally moving within the G minor. It's not up and down. But we're starting off in this position here at the 15th fret. 15, 16, 15, 16, 18. 5 dips. And then you're going to go back to 15, half step bend release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off to 13. 5 more dips. See what I mean? And now you're going to go 11, 13, and then full step bend, no vibrato on this bend. This whole little phrase has vibrato on every third note, but that bend there, no vibrato. No vibrato. And then you're going to release it. And then a little trill between 11 and 13. Back it off to 10. And then the vibrato picks up again. And then you're going to go 8, 10, half step bend. And then 10, 8, 6. And then again, 5 little dips of the bar. Little half step bend release off to 5 of the 7 of the G. And then we're going to slide into 5. Slide into 5 of the D, down to 3, back to 5 of the D. And then a little double bend, double full step bend at 5, and then release. So that whole phrase, and that whole phrase is going to repeat, but and again, this is just riding right down the G natural minor. And then again. Now this time it's not going to continue on. It's going to start moving up into the higher registers here. You're going to go 10 off to 8. And then you're going to grab 13 of the high E and give it a nice slow full step bend. And then we're into this. So we're pulling off from 17 to 15 to 13, or sorry, 17 to 15 to 14, back onto 15. For 3 full step bends, last one, get it up there and give it lots of vibrato. And we're going to call that the end of part 3. So let's just run through the whole part 3, and then we'll move on to part 4. actually, this next part is rather short, so we're just going to call this a continuation of the last part that we were on here. So we're coming out of this. So we're coming out of that. Now we're into this. And now we're into the kind of the solo of the piece. So here's that little part there. So we're on the B and the high E string on the 15. And playing kind of the same melody, right? So we're going 15, 15, 17, 18. And then we're backing it up to 13 of the B. Bend, release, back onto 17. And lots of vibrato, remember? And then we're going to go 13, 13, 15, 17, back it up to 11, and then you're going to give that full step bend, hit it while it's up there, and then release it. Pick it again when you get it back to the natural note. And that little trill again. This time between the 13, 11, and 10. Finishing up on the 11. And this time you're going to go 11, 13, 15. A little half step bend back at the 10, and then a slide into 15 of the high E. This part's a little tricky, a lot of jumping around here. Lots of, you know, if you want to be able to get to some of these notes, because where we are traveling laterally here along the neck, I'm doing a lot of index bending. And if you don't bend well with your index, you're going to have a bit of a hard time. So, like that's an index bend right there. So is that. And now we're leading into the solo. Now we're going to go 15, 17, half step bend, and then progressively, chromatically go from 15 to 17, 18. So the first one we're going 17, 18, 19, 20, but the first one is a half step. The next two are full. The next three are full steps. Half step, full, full, full. And get that up there and give it a good shake. So we're going to call that the end of that part. So I'm going to play through the whole thing up to that point, and now we're into the actual solo. Sorry, that wasn't the beginning of that part, was it? The beginning of that part was... into part 4, or maybe it's part 5, I can't remember, losing track. Now we're into the solo. This is the solo. So that's the solo-y bit of this one with that one quick little scale run in it. So we're coming out of this. We're up here at the, what is that, the 17, 18, 19, 20th fret of the high E. Back to the natural note. Back to 18. Back to 17. And then you're going to go 20, 18 of the B. And then you're going to grab 17 of the G, give it a full step bend with your index, and then grab 20 of the B string. That's a little tricky. It can be played a different way. Back it up to 15, and then grab 18 of the B. And then bend the 17 of the G with your either ring finger or middle finger, and then grab the 15 of the high E. That's another way you could play this. This is the way I play it. And then again, full step bend to 20. And then you're going to back it up to 18 to 17, back to 15, up to 18 of the B, and then give it a full step bend. And now we're into the fast little scale run. That's the lick right there, right up the G minor pentatonic. I'm not going to pick out every single note there. I'm just going to play it a few times slowly, but it's right up the pentatonic. Bend there. And then another bend. Each time you hit that 17th fret of the G, you're giving it a bend. Except that time. The third time you're not. And the only tricky part there, well, it's tricky because it's really fast, is you're rolling here on the D and the A string on the 17s. And then you're sliding out of that 17. Right there is the roll. Slide out. So, and now we're back into this, the 20th fret, high E again. And that little descending pattern again, 20, 18, 17. Back to 15. Up to 18 of the B. And then you're going to grab that 17, bend, off to 15, and then grab 17 of the D. And now you do need a whammy bar, sorry. You're going to open G, hammer onto 3 of the G, 4 dips, and then dive bomb it. And then kind of kill it when it's halfway down the dive bomb. Back to the 20. descend, grab the 18 of the B, nice, slow, full step bend. Alright, so that is the end of the solo-y bit here. Nice relaxed pace through that whole thing. Alright, so now we're into the final outro section of the instrumental, and we're going to call this part 5. Just going to run through this quickly, and then we'll dig into how to play it. That's all fading out during the last 10-15 seconds of what I was playing there. So, very simple. Back in this box again, 5 of the G, down to 6 of the B, back to 5 for a full step bend of the G. With some nice vibrato. And then we're going to go on the 5s of the A and the D. And then 2 to 3 of the G. Bend release of the 5 of the G. And then another bend release to the 3, off to the 5 of the D. For a double hit. And we're going to move up here to the 7 of the G. And then 8-10 of the B. Little half step bend, back to the 5 of the G. Bend release. On to the 8 of the B for a full step bend. Slow release. Yeah, that's a full step bend. Nice little pinch harmonic there. Slowly let that release. And now we're going to go 6-8 again of the B. This time we're going up a step and a half. And then we're going to move up here to the 10 of the G, down to 8 of the B, onto the 11 of the B for a step and a half bend. No, sorry, full step bend. And then into this lick. Finishing up on the 10 of the G. So up to that point. Up to the 7 of the G. Up to the 8. Full step bend, slow release. 6/8. Step and a half. Up to the 10 of the G. Up to the 11 of the B for a full step bend. That little lick there. And now we're into this the second very quick little scale run. Right up the pentatonic of the G minor. Finishing on the 5 of the D with like 4, 5, 6 hits. So that's the lick. One more time. And that's that fast little lick. And now we're going to slide into the 12 of the G, hit it 3 times, 15 of the B, step and a half bend. And when you got that up there, you're going to hit it a whole bunch of times. Release, back to the 12 of the G, back to the 10, back onto the 12, for another step and a half bend. And when you get that step and a half bend up there at the 12th fret of the G, give it lots of vibrato. And then these 3 little scale runs. And it's all fading out at this point. So we're hammering on 3 little hammer-ons right down the pentatonic. 15 to 17 of the D, 15 to 17 of the G, and then 15 to 18 of the B. Full step bend. And then you're going to do it again. And then the second time, you're going to raise that up like 2 full steps. And when you get that note up there, give it some vibrato. And then the second time, you're going way up, and then you're going this time. I'm making this part up. It's really fading out at this point. Bending the crap out of that 20th fret. And this is not really part of the solo. I think the song is ended by this point. This is a little just fun that I've. It's really it fades out long here, and he's kind of just playing up here in the pentatonic. But so let's just run through that whole last section there. Let that release. Step and a half. I think you can hear that as it's really fading out. I think he's on the, what is that, the 20th fret, I think? 17, 18, 19, 20 of the B string, given that step and a half bends. As it's fading out. And so that is it. That is how you play the Loner in its entirety, including the Prelude. I hope that helped you out. And God damn, I love this instrumental, and I love Gary Moore. Probably my favorite overall guitar player, and I miss his playing so much. He left us too young. And so anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. I hope that helped you out. That is a great bloody instrumental and a great workout for your feel and expression in your playing, and definitely working on your bends. And if you play it like I played it, it'll strengthen those index bends, because like I said, this is really moving up and down a lot, and to reach a lot of these notes, you know, you really got to be using your index to do a lot of those bends in order to reach some of these notes. And so anyway, great having you here, and thanks for watching. And you know, hit me a subscribe, and I hope you appreciate this tutorial. It's gonna be a long one. And you guys take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Cheers.